I really wanted to make this video about this guy. I really did. But the past general manager's draft history isn't necessarily relevant in the context of this video, so we'll have to start in 2020. New general manager Ben Cherington was staring down the barrel of making his first selection, and he did a relatively good job. Cherington selected Nick Gonzalez out of New Mexico State, who recently made his debut with the Major League squad. Gonzalez was seen as a risky pick at the time due to his player being a bat-first second baseman in a ballpark where seemingly everyone turns into a bat-first player. But in this instance, the bat has stuck at every level of the minors and even into the majors where Gonzalez has been tearing it up as of late. Considering the grades of the players at the time, the pick is looking to be really good. Obviously, we can look in hindsight and say that they should have grabbed Pete Crow Armstrong, who went in at pick 19, or Jordan Walker at pick 21. But considering the options relative to the pick at the time, Cherington did well. Cherington also snagged Carmen Mlodzinski, who also just made his debut in the bullpen, and the organization's 10th overall prospect Jared Jones in the second round. Again, in hindsight, those picks could have been used on Spencer Strider, who went in the fourth round, but that is really stretching realism. The 2021 draft is where Cherington made some controversial moves. Instead of going for the headliners of the class like Marcelo Mayer, Jack Leiter, or then superstar Kumar Rocker, the Pirates decided to save some cash and grab Henry Davis out of Louisville. At the time, I was very harsh on the decision, but in the perspective I have now, it sort of worked. Davis is looking like the exact same player they drafted, an unusual swing path that yields great results with a strong arm. The Pirates haven't been having him catch, however, because somehow they think Austin Hedges is a viable option in 2023. But that's a story for a different day. Meanwhile, the Vandy pitchers have lost a bit of their pedigree, with Leiter barely clinging on to top 100 status, and Marcelo Mayer is currently the 4th ranked prospect in baseball. While I love Davis, in this regard, it is a bit of a miss, but it looks like the Pirates got a good player at the end of the day, and that's all you can really ask for. The extra money did allow the Pirates to beef up their farm system as well, grabbing Anthony Solimento, the current number 5 prospect in the Pirates system, Lonnie White Jr., who's ranked at 12th, and Bubba Chandler, who sits at 8th. So the plan worked to perfection, but you have to consider the trade-off at the top. The 2022 draft saw the Pirates take a different yet similar approach to the 2020 draft. They grabbed a plus hit tool second baseman, sound familiar? But this time, the player came out of high school, so it's a bit different in that regard. While it is hard to gauge the class just because of lack of time within the system, there are some distinctions a person can make from it. At the top, they grabbed Tamar Johnson, the Pirates' number 1 prospect and 28th prospect in baseball, just ahead of Henry Davis. The 19-year-old is already in single A and has had some mixed results. He's still showing the flashes of brilliance and just needs more time to get acclimated to the professional game. However, the Pirates didn't stop there. They crushed the rest of their draft, grabbing 3 pitchers who sit at 11th, 13th, and 19th ranked in their system. Now again, where would these players be closer to their MLB debut? Who knows? But for now, it looks like the Pirates did well, especially down the board. So that leads us up to now, the 2023 MLB draft. For much of the last 2 seasons, this pick has seemed to already be spoken for, much like in football where teams might tank to grab a highly touted quarterback. Whoever ended up with the number 1 pick was getting Dylan Crews, the outfielder out of LSU. But with recent reports of Crews wanting to break the record for the highest signing bonus in history, could we see the Pirates pivot in a new direction? We've already seen the Pirates do it once under Cherington, so why wouldn't they now? Well, first, let's get a grasp of the prospects with even a remote chance to go at number 1 to get a grasp of the situation. Starting with Crews himself, he's been a force ever since his first season at LSU, posting an 1100 OPS every season of being there. Hitting isn't the only side of his game, though, as Crews grades out as a well above average player in most categories and would easily slot in as the Pirates' top prospect. His overall grade is a 65 out of 80, which beats Tamar Johnson and Henry Davis, who had sit at a 55 out of 80. There isn't really enough great things to say about Crews, but with recent rumors, he isn't even the betting favorite to go at number 1. His teammate Paul Skeens has taken that mantle after just 1 season at LSU. While he was always a force at Air Force, see what I did there? Skeens really got put on the map by helping lead the Tigers to a national championship. Another guy who would easily sit atop the Pirates prospect list, as he also has that 65 out of 80 grade. The Pirates also need a bona fide number 1 starter in their system, so the pick just makes sense. Skeens' picks is limited to just 3, but the pitches he does throw are electric. An 80 grade fastball that can easily touch triple digit, and a wipeout slider. Make this prospect as tantalizing as any. The player with the 3rd highest odds would force the Pirates to go back to their 2022 draft approach and take high schooler Max Clark. Clark has been on the rise and really got his name out there after coming up big in the 18 and under World Cup. While he is much further from the MLB game than a Crews or Skeens, Clark does project well as an all-around outfielder. The lefty has a really good approach for his age, and we could see that power develop as he gets older. With a good arm and great speed, there's a lot to like about the kid from Indiana. With his current grade, he would probably still climb atop the Pirates' prospect ranking, but not in the same margin as the first two. An option like this would allow the Pirates to take their 2021 approach, however, and spend more money down the board. And finally, with the fourth best odds is Wyatt Langford out of the University of Florida. Langford burst on the scene in 2022 and has been crushing baseballs ever since. A player that sort of does everything well, with his power being his most distinguishing trait. Basically, for a player like this, if you're looking for a guy who isn't quite as good as Cruz, but are looking for a hard worker to save some money on, this is the guy. All of that leads us to here. Days before the draft, questioning who the Pirates will grab at the #1 overall spot. Will they save money? Will they go for the best prospect? Or find some middle ground? Will the Pirates pay the $10 million Cruz is asking for? That's the initial question we have to answer. $10 million is a lot, but when we look at it, it's not that much above the slot value. And for a player that could be manning center field for you in 2 years at a high level, it could be worth it. In my humble, uneducated opinion, the Pirates should fork over the money. This isn't 2021 where the best player in the draft is still years away like Mayer was. This situation is much different. Cruz is as good of a prospect as you're going to find and could be the next big thing at Pittsburgh. The current MLB team is just a few pieces short, and adding another superstar into the mix would push the Pirates potentially into another echelon of baseball that Pirates fans haven't seen in some time. And if the Pirates must go back to their cheapskate ways, take Skeens. It isn't that complicated. Skeen fits a need in the Pirates system for pitching, and again, will be in the majors very soon. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Let me know who you think the Pirates will take #1 overall, and as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.